Hello everyone, today I'm going to have a different video going over my top 5 favorite Grand Theft Auto video games. Now, Grand Theft Auto is a revolutionary series in the video game industry. This changed everything. It created the definition of a sandbox game. Now, the first two GTAs were kind of more like an arcade game with zero story. GTA 3 came along and changed everything. Vice City, San Andreas, and many more followed. And it was one of the few games that felt very cinematic, even for back then with the graphics, it had a very cinematic quality to it, as well as voice acting. You had major actors lend their voices for these characters, and it was like way before other games, and especially video games now in this decade, did it. This was a revolutionary series. Nobody made a game like Grand Theft Auto. Now, it wasn't without controversy. Nevertheless, it is a successful video game series, and I just love it. I love Grand Theft Auto, and today I want to share my top 5 favorite Grand Theft Auto video games. Now, this is my personal ranking of my personal favorites, so if you have a different list from mine, let me know down in the comments below. What are your favorite GTA games? Starting the list at number 5, I have 2 games tied. Well, they could technically be counted as 3, but one of them being Grand Theft Auto Episodes from Liberty City. Now, this is comprised of The Ballad of Gay Tony and The Lost and the Damned. Grand Theft Auto 4 had an interesting story with Nico Bellic, and in many ways, this can be considered like the first time they had 3 different characters interconnected in one larger narrative before GTA 5. However, I did not like Nico Bellic. GTA 4 disappointed me. I beat it on a rental, and it was too realistic, too gritty. It lacked the fun aspect of the PS2 Grand Theft Autos, and for some reason, it has its fans. That's great. I didn't like GTA 4. GTA 4 really disappointed me. But I found these 2 DLC episodes later, and Ballad of Gay Tony and Lost and the Damned feel like the old school Grand Theft Auto games. This is how you do a DLC. No cash grab type of online gameplay. No, story-based single-player games is how you do it, and I love it. Ever since I saw the trailer to the game with Roxette, the look, it was just amazing. Having this character of Luis, Ballad of Gay Tony, him always saying, like, there's a girl, there's always a girl. Seeing him do errands for this guy, seeing the bank robbery in GTA 4, how it goes with the Lost and Damned, and you have the character of Johnny, who of course is later killed in GTA 5, but I just love that opening with Bon Jovi's Wanted, Dead or Alive. Both of these have wonderful narratives that are so different from one another, stylistically and just character-wise. And there's some great action set pieces here, great betrayals, twists and turns. And for a DLC episode, or episode should I say, this is a worthy game. This is almost a better game in its own right. I mean, it's worthy for its own entry. And GTA 4 plus these DLCs really creates a complete experience, and these 2 games, these 2 DLCs, I think are better than the entirety of GTA 4. And for that, it makes my top 5. These 2 together being Episodes from Liberty City. I just love the soundtrack. Something About You by Level 42. How you can parachute and do different things. It feels very much like the other Grand Theft Autos, but with a merger of the more grounded, realistic Grand Theft Auto of the next-gen consoles. Also at number 5 is Grand Theft Auto 3. This is a game that started it all. The voice work is well done, man. You have a lot of people from The Sopranos in this, but I love it. You have Claude. You find out he's later Claude, who might be Claude Speed from GTA 2. I don't know, but I like seeing 8-Ball. I like seeing the mob bosses, and this is very cinematic. It starts with a robbery, and he gets betrayed by his girlfriend, so not only is it like a betrayal, but it's a revenge story, and it feels very much like Porter and Payback. You work with all these different people to basically go after your ex and get revenge, get after her. And I love the allegiances he has, the betrayals he has in the story. And it's a character that's silent, so that's something else that's kind of different. You put your own voice in the character. Then you have Flashback FM, which is pretty much the soundtrack from Scarface. You have Push It to the Limit, She's on Fire. I love the cheat codes here. You just press R3, go up. All pedestrians have weapons. I messed around and just blew shit up when I first played this as a kid, but I fell in love with the story later. I replayed it years later, and this is a worthy entry. This is what started this type of formula for Grand Theft Auto that other video games have imitated. And without this, we would not have the series, and we would not have the legacy that is left without Grand Theft Auto 3. Grand Theft Auto 3 was truly a game changer. After that, at number 4 is Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. This is a severely underrated Grand Theft Auto entry. It originally came out on the PSP, but I played it on the PS2. It's a prequel to Vice City, and we get to play as Vic Vance, Victor Vance, the brother of Lance Vance. We get to see the events before Grand Theft Auto Vice City, you know. He's in the army. You have Martinez there, and he betrays him. You get to see Phil, played by Gary Busey again. Luis Guzman comes back as Diaz. And Lance, as always, does the Lance Vance dance, but is also causing a lot of trouble. And this is a very tragic figure, because even though he's in illegal activities, he's not truly a bad guy. He just had horrible circumstances happen to him. He's in between a rock and a hard place, and he's trying to get out of it. So it creates a very sympathetic character in that regard. He does get caught up in the crime world, but really it's him trying to survive with all these people betraying him for their own benefit. And that's something very different. We also have like his girlfriend here who's basically having an abusive relationship with like this redneck Confederate guy. And she has a sad arc, you know, with a kid and all that. Like, it's a very dark story. I love these other characters. And we also have Phil Collins as himself. There's a great sequence with In the Air Tonight where you have to like fight off people during a concert. That's just done very well. You can actually swim in this. It has jet skis. I love the soundtrack here. You know, you have Round and Round by Rat. I Want to Know What Love Is, Easy Lover, In the Air Tonight. Man, this was a very well done Grand Theft Auto, even with a little bit poor graphics. Compared to Vice City, I think it was a superior game in many ways, story-wise. This is a very different type of Grand Theft Auto that I think is criminally underrated. It does not get mentioned enough. If you haven't played Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories, please do so, because it's a wonderful arc, and it's kind of tragic what happens in Vice City. Vic Vance does feel a bit different than the one you saw in Vice City, but I love this as a standalone story, and we get to see where Lance Vance is coming from when you go to the original. This is a perfect prequel that not only honors what came before, but also creates its own type of story and game and feeling, and I just love this entry. After that, at number 3 for me is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. This might be the best one, actually. I love the scope of this for the PS2. A controversial video game, nevertheless. You know, the whole hot coffee mod, which kind of pissed me off because it's a mod, and they thought that was a game. So it was like the first game to have an adult-only rating. And that's a bummer. I love this game. I talked my mom into renting it for me. She got mad, but I don't care. It's cinematic, and it's very different, you know. It's also one of the few video games where you have a black protagonist. Even though he's a gangbanger, it's during the LA riots, really. You know, you have CJ here, and it's one of the few games where you can customize, so you can make him fat, you can make him built. So that was kind of annoying having him eat all the time, but I like that. I like the whole betrayal relationship with Big Smoke and the corrupt police. Holy shit, dude, Chris Penn and Samuel L. Jackson play some assholes in this. Sam Jackson's evil, man. That whole betrayal and him having to leave that part of Los Santos and San Andreas, and then you get to meet other people. You have Peter Fonda in this, the late great Peter Fonda, James Woods. Man, the scope of this of having like Las Vegas, San Francisco, and LA in like one game, I'm still blown away by the size and scope of this. Let's not forget the soundtrack. I love all the rap music. You also have like Rage Against the Machine, Killing in the Name of, freaking Midlife Crisis by Faith No More, and then who could forget Welcome to the Jungle that was on the trailer. I love it. All the way to the end of the riots and this like epic showdown. Parts felt like Terminator 2, Boys in the Hood, man. Just like Vice City, it had a lot of stuff from the early 90s, and it had a soundtrack to it. I also like that you get to play a Sega Genesis inside his apartment, so that was pretty cool. But San Andreas was something that was unique and a big step up from Vice City and GTA 3. It was a natural progression. We also got to see some familiar faces from the other games, and I just love this Grand Theft Auto entry. I really wish they would take the scope of this and apply it to modern day graphics, or give this a remaster. This is a great game. After that, at number 2, I still love Grand Theft Auto Vice City. GTA Vice City is just an amazing game. It was the first Grand Theft Auto that I owned. My brother gave it to me one Christmas. He got a lot of heat for it, but this is the first Grand Theft Auto where I rented it before, but like, I used to just drive around and blow stuff up and shoot, right? Well, this is the first one where I actually played the story and got hooked, story-wise, cinematic-wise. Ray Liotta is awesome as Tommy Vercetti. Philip Michael Thomas. Tubbs from Miami Vice is Lance Vance. But you also have like Burt Reynolds in this game, Dennis Hopper. You also have Luis Guzman as Diaz, Robert Davey as the Colonel, freaking Tom Sizemore as the villain here. I love this game of Tommy Vercetti being in prison 15 years and going to Vice City. The 80s vibe. This has an amazing soundtrack. I have to thank GTA for building up my music taste going to adulthood, because this is just a phenomenal soundtrack. V-Rock, Emotion 98.3. I still remember the cheats. R and R2, L1, X, left down, right up, armor cheat, which is also like the money, armor, and health cheat in San Andreas. Then you have like R1, R2, L1 circle, left down, right up as a health. Anyway, you have the cheat codes there. I still remember them to this day. I love that you could use the cheats. It's before trophies. I love the story of this. All the people he has to meet in Vice City, and then them applying a hurricane to the roads being blocked. So that's another reason why I did the stories. You had to open up Vice City. And this game used to be so huge. I look at it now after GTA 5, I'm like, this is so small. It's crazy. I love the story here of him going through the ranks. You have freaking Danny Trejo as part of the Havana gang leader with the Cubans against the Haitians, all that stuff there. Man, Ken Rosenberg. First GTA where you can have a freaking motorcycle. I love that. Oh, I hated that race with Hillary, but yeah, Gary Busey. That part where he blows his arm off is just so crazy and hilarious with the drunk vision. And then I love that ending with that showdown. It's just like, what, Tommy, you thought I was going to go with my tail between my legs? And he's like, no, I just want to piss you off before I kill you. I just love this GTA. This game had everything and is among one of the best still. I'm hoping GTA 6 is with modern graphics in Vice City. New characters? Maybe. Older Tommy Vercetti? Definitely. Something, man. I want to see something. But this is a classic, and this, for many years, was my favorite GTA game. This is one of my favorite video games ever made, period. I love this. Man, anybody who grew up playing Vice City, you know how special it is. I just love it. I just love it. That opening of Billie Jean, right when you play it and drive a car, is just so iconic. I love it, man. It's such an amazing game. And an amazing Grand Theft Auto, as well as like you finding all the hidden packages and getting like 200 health, armor, and like unlimited ammo and stuff like that. It's just amazing. After that, at number 1, my favorite Grand Theft Auto is Grand Theft Auto 5. GTA 5 is a masterpiece. I love these 3 characters of Michael, Franklin, and Trevor. The whole story is just amazing, and you basically switching off between these 3 characters, having different endings. I chose the ending where they all lived. That's my preferred ending for the game, but the graphics are amazing. This took what they tried to do in GTA 4, but it had the fun factor of the PS2 Grand Theft Autos. Who could forget that trailer and the song made by Chang Gang in 1974, Sleepwalking? That is my favorite song of the decade. You hear that song, you're like, it's just awesome. Change of Coast there. Amazing soundtrack. I remember playing this on the PS3. Had a crazy day that day. It came out on the PS4. I haven't played it yet. I want to, but I love how they actually got these actors to voice it and motion capture it. And Michael, starting off like in Jersey, basically outside Liberty City, bank robbery mission was insane. Thinking he's dead, going to witness protection. Trevor finding out he's alive. How Michael and Franklin meet and the whole like drug cartel stuff, and then the wife. Some moments remind me of like Lethal Weapon 2, and other moments with like missions, whether you're like a firefighter or going in from the ceiling, remind me of Mission Impossible 1 and 2. I love this. I love the whole FIB corruption there, and then like the CIA and all the double crosses. The political satire and kind of social commentary they have in the game as well. The vehicles, the gameplay. It's just fantastic, and how everything interconnects to one large narrative is just amazing. This was a long game, and for many years, Vice City was my favorite, but by the end of this is my favorite Grand Theft Auto video game. This just has everything, and you felt something finishing it. This is a magnum opus. This is fantastic, and I cannot wait to see how they're going to elevate it in 6 if they ever make one. This is just an amazing game where I felt a connection to these 3 characters the way I did to Tommy Vercetti in Vice City. Trevor is just batshit crazy. Him waking up in a dress and all this other stuff, man. Oh my god. Oh yeah, another song is Skeletons by Stevie Wonder. I love that trailer. And just how everything goes down with you ultimately having to face against these other bad guys, Michael's family being threatened, and the stuff with the yoga instructor and how he like punches him, like that stuff was awesome. This is my favorite Grand Theft Auto game, and I just love everything about this game, from the soundtrack, visual, story, and acting. Anyway, that does it for my Grand Theft Auto ranking. Those are my top 5 Grand Theft Auto video games. Let me know your favorite Grand Theft Auto video games down in the comments below. I want to know your favorite GTA games. Feel free to subscribe for more videos and check out these videos on my channel. Till next time, it's all down south now.